Some of them tried. But the big families, they come and they talk to me about it, and they're concerned because they are afraid for their little children, you know. And so they're saying, well, how long it's going to take? Well, I don't know how long it's going to take. Depending on how fast we can move 200 or 300 people with little babies and all the food and the cattle and everything that has to go, how fast we can move, it's going to take probably a year, maybe 2 years, I don't know. That's a long time. Yeah, it's a long time. But when you get there, look at what you're going to have. Well, I don't know. Is any dangers over there? Dangers? Well, dangers over there. You're just going through the worst Apache country in the whole world to get there, so, you know. And they were scared. And it was hard finding the families with lots of children because they were afraid for their little children. But the ones who were brave, they found, you know, we brought the Tapias, they had 9 children. All of them had at least 4 or more. And sometimes on the way, that's a lot of people, we had on the way born 8 babies. Huh? So we started out with 8 less than we got there. We did have, well, we had some deaths. When we got to Orcasitas, the capital of Sonora, I wanted to, well, 2 things. It was in May, and so it was too hot to come across the desert. And so I said, well, we got to stop here until the fall, after the rains, and then we'll go. Well, we got to stop here because we can't go anyway, and because we got to stop here, I want to give some training on these new recruits. And so we were there for the summer. And that summer, I don't know what it's like over here now, but on Sonora, it's coming one epidemia, you know, it's epidemic, no? It's coming one epidemic every 2 or 3 years or something or other. Well, it's coming one that summer, and it killed a lot of people in town. It killed 3 members who were coming with us on the expedition. But that was not the fault of the expedition. It was just an epidemic that kills people when they come. They always do that. And then on the fall, when we started, we came to Tubac. We gathered the last of the peoples and the last of the supplies. On the first day when we left, and if you've never been over there, when you leave Tubac, the next water you're going to come to is a place we call La Canoa. We call it La Canoa. Canoa is a canoe, no? It's canoa. Well, because it's a one wooden, like a canoa, like a canoe over there, that the water, they put the water on so that you have clean water. And so it's been called La Canoa forever, I don't know. And when we got there on the afternoon, Manuela Piñuelas was feeling the pains on the childbirth, you know. And so we stopped, where was the water, and I had with me and by this time we had the 300 peoples. And I had 10 tiendas de campaña, you know, the campaign tents, you know, big tents that you can put 6 or 8 peoples in. And so we put up one tent so that she could give birth for the baby on that night, and she did, and it was coming a big healthy boy. One Capistrano Felix is the father's name, one Capistrano Felix, the name was bigger than the boy was. But the trouble was coming with the feet first, and it was a Bravos, and the mother died that night. Is the only one who died when we were moving on the trail. But there was nothing anybody could have done, because even if we'd have been in Ciudad de Mexico, the doctors couldn't have fixed it. And so she died that night. So on the real truth, we didn't lose anybody because of the troubles on the trail. We lost one to childbirth, we lost 3 to the epidemic, but nobody died because they got too hungry or too cold or something like that. We had another baby was born on the Gila River, the Gutierrez baby, and then just when we crossed the mountains, the night before we crossed the mountains to come on to California, the last one, the Linares baby, was born over there. The place we call the Pasaje de San Carlos, the San Carlos Pass. And we'd had some real troubles. We could have lost some people. We lost a lot of ganado, you know, we lost a lot of cattle, and we lost some horses and mules. But we didn't lose anybody because when we left the Colorado, and it was cold, it was the last day of November, I can remember because it was so cold and the river was running so big, you know, the water was right up to the chest of the horse. So, the best you could do is you're going to get your legs wet. If you could stay on your horse, everything's going to be all right. And most people did. We only had one soldier fall off, but you know, I don't know if you know the Yuma Indians. Oh, they're big, strong people, you know. And they swim on that water like fish, you know. And so they got in the line down below where we were crossing. And one soldier did. So the horse fell down, and the soldier came off, and he was like me. He's a Sonorense. He don't know how to swim. How are you going to swim in all the water you've ever saw that much, you know? And so it's pretty scary when you don't know how to swim and you go across the water like that. Well, the soldier was he thought he was going to die. One of those big humans, they just dropped him and they took him to the shore faster than he would have went on the horse anyway. So he really got off better than the rest of them. But we crossed all that cold water, and then I got on the other side, and we had made, it was to understand from the trip when we found the road, that you have to go around those big meadows, you know, those big decendents. And the water is too little. You can't, if you took 300 people, and we had almost 1,000 canal. You took all those cattle and everything to a water, Pozo de Agua, you know, the water hole. They're going to make it muddy, and nobody's going to get anything to drink because there's not enough there for everybody. And so I told the vaqueros, we had eight vaqueros, and some of the soldiers, I said, you take all the cattle, all the extra horses, you go right straight across until you come to those mountains. You're going to travel probably sometimes 2 days, maybe even 3 days without water, so we'll be very careful and treat the animals very carefully. The rest of us, we're going to break into 3 groups. I took the first one, and I went one day, and then the Sargento, Grijalva, he took the second group and went the second day, and then the last group, Teniente Moraga, Lieutenant Moraga brought the last group, and we're traveling 1 day behind the first one. So I went the first day, and when I get there with my people, they drank all the water in the water hole. But then it has all night and all the next day for the water to come back in, and then was coming Grijalva's group, and they drank all the water on the third day. And so we followed the water holes around los médanos. And just before we come to the mountains, and of course I was 1 day ahead of Grijalva and 2 days ahead of Moraga, just before we got to the mountains, it's coming a snowstorm. I would have never imagined that you could have snow down there. That's a hot desert. It's way worse than Sonora. There's nothing grows there. And it's so hot, I don't think it's even on the nivel with the ocean. I think it's maybe below. Huh? But what's coming, a snowstorm. Most of these people were from Sinaloa. They never saw snow in their life. And they were scared. I was scared because, boy, this is bad because we got 10 tents, you know. And so the person that's really cold, about to die, we put that one on the tent. And when we get that one warm, we put it out on the snow and we bring another one in and we put it in the tent until we get them warm. Try to keep everybody warm. And then sometimes you have to go a long ways just to find some little sticks, you know, to make a fire. And we're trying to get the other 2 groups together. Moraga was coming with the last bunch. His ears got so cold, he couldn't hear. I didn't think, it was probably 2 weeks before he could hear. I didn't think he was ever going to hear it. But we didn't lose one person. And then we kept coming up there. And some of the people, they said, oh, we want to go back. I said, you come this far and you want to go back. I said, if you could just get across those mountains, you're in California. And it's more beautiful over there than you've ever seen anywhere. You just keep coming. And so when the snow quit, and we started up the canyon, it started to warm up a little bit, the snow started to melt except on the high places. And just the day before we crossed over the top, we were right there. You could see the pasaje right there, you know, the pass was right there, real close. And we come there that night, and that was the night that the Linares baby was born. And the baby was born, the baby was healthy, the mama was healthy, and I knew next day we're going to cross that pass and start drop down very fast on the California. And I said, all right, tonight we're going to have a little celebration. And I've been drinking all the way from Ciudad de Mexico, 3 cascas de aguardiente, you know, 3 barrels of aguardiente. I don't know what you call that, but well, it's like a brandy or a whiskey or something like that, except it's homemade. And it's hot. And it brings the spirits up real fast. Padre Font, you know Padre Font, he was mad with me all the way. But he was so mad with me that night. He said, Anza, he said, you're going to hell, and so is this whole expedition going to hell because you're going to have drunkenness this night. And you know what? And that was on the Noche Buena. Of course, he said Noche Buena, the night before the Christmas Eve. This is on the night, Font is telling me, he said, this is on the night of the Savior's birth, and you're going to have drunkenness on the camp, you're all going to hell. I said, well, Padre, you're supposed to bring the spirits of these people up, and they've been feeling pretty bad, and you're not doing a very good job, so I'm going to give them this, it's going to bring up the spirit. I'll tell them they're not going to have any drunkenness over here. Huh? Oh, he said, you know that's not going to work. I said, well, you know, I tell them. And they better not, because I'm the man in charge over here. And so I took the brandy to them, and I said, all right, tomorrow we're crossing. Well, we weren't going to cross tomorrow because the new baby, the new mama, you know, we got to give her one day of rest before we put her back on the horse, right? And so we're going to rest the next day. The next day was Domingo, Christmas Day was a Sunday. And we got to rest for one day for the mama, so she can feel a little better when she gets back on the horse. And so I said, you know, but we're right there. The pass is right there, and then we're in California. So you go ahead, you feel pretty good, but I don't want to see any drunkenness here. And so then I went back to my tent. I went to bed because I was very tired. You know, the next morning, before it's even coming the sun, Padre Fontes, a slap on the tent, you know. Anza, you come here, you want to see this. Well, what's so big a problem, Padre Fontes? I got to get up before the sun is coming up. You told me there's not going to be any drunkenness here. He said, you come here, I'm going to show you. Oh, Padre Fontes, can't wait till after we have some breakfast or something, you know. No, he says, you know, you promised me, you come here, I'm going to show you. All right, Padre.